Hello, viewers. Welcome to SuperGrads. I'm your mentor and guide, Brenda, and I welcome you all to this session of Basics of IPM. Now, since you know that we are running this series to help you best prepare for your preparation to your dream college. And today, the topic that I have for you in this series is one of the most expected topics, whether it is IPMAT Indore or Rohtak, or even to some extent GIPMAT and the other relevant papers. This one is called words that are often confused. Now, why is this topic so important? Because you can expect at least 4 to 5 questions based on this topic alone in your IPMAT Indore paper. So, is it relevant or not? So, 5 questions, 5 into 4, 20 marks. And since this is a topic that requires some amount of dedication, it would be safe to say that this is one topic that can actually help you boost your score. करना क्या है? थोड़ी सी पढ़ाई करनी है, थोड़ा सा ध्यान देना है. टॉपिक तो एक्सपेक्टेड है और कितने वर्ड्स हैं पढ़ने के लिए? बहुत सारे नहीं है, थोड़े से हैं. अगर हम पढ़ लें, उसको थोड़ा सा कमांड अपना उस पर डेवलप कर लें, तो कहाँ जाएंगे ये 20 से 25 मार्क्स, 24 मार्क्स मिल जाएंगे ना? So let's understand this topic and let's get started. So the first set of words that I have for you. Well, what I have done for you over here is that we'll practice some of the words here that sound similar, and some of them don't even sound similar. They kind of share a similar spelling. And since we often end up getting confused about the usage of these words, so they always give this sort of question in the paper. So what I've done here is we'll practice some similar words here, and then towards the end of the session, I've included some questions that have actually appeared in the previous year's papers. So you will get to see किस तरह का पेपर पैटर्न आता है और क्या तैयारी का लेवल आपको रखना पड़ेगा. लेवल ऑफ डिफिकल्टी समझ में आएगा आपको कि क्या चाहिए हमें ताकि हम इस सेक्शन में थोड़ा ज्यादा अच्छा कर पाए. Right? So let's just see. So the look at the words. The word is serve and serve. So they share a similar sound, but the spelling is different, and of course the meaning also is entirely different. कुछ भी similar नहीं है except for the sound. So he came from a family of dash but rose to become a landlord. So somebody came from a family of what? Serf or serf. SERF serf का मतलब होता है slave, bondsman. एंड एस यू आर एफ सर्फ ये वर्ड तो आपको फेमिलियर होगा, आप जानते होंगे ये वर्ड. एस यू आर एफ सर्फ के दो मतलब होते हैं. सो राइडिंग द वेव एंड द अदर वन इज जब आप नेट पे वेबसाइट पे ब्राउज करते हो, इस वेबसाइट से उस वेबसाइट पर आप जब करते हो ब्राउज तो आप सर्फ कर रहे होते हो. So he came from a family of website, so surfing the website or surfing the waves. No, he came from a family of bondsmen, slaves, but rose to become a landlord. So the answer to the first question will be SAR surf. The next one, the dash is up, down at the beach. So the dash is up at the beach means the surf, the wave is up at the beach. You can dash the internet after some time. Well, you can actually surf the internet after some time. You can browse through the internet after some time. Well, there was a dash tone in Merlin's voice when she berated Dot for putting the tack in her chair. Now, what tone? See, the word is severe and severe. Now, severe is when somebody is harsh and somebody is extreme. All right, Simar, do you understand there is this concept called revision? And the more you do it, the better you become. That is how you hone your skills, right? So that's super important. Now, coming back to the word, so severe simply means to cut something off, and severe is something that's harsh and extreme. So there was a dash tone in Merlin's voice. What sort of tone? Do you think cut off tone or a harsh tone, extreme tone? Well, this has to be option B. We dash sheep's wool in the spring and we dash hedges in summer. Shear with shear means to cut off, and sheer as in sheer simply means utter, complete, unadulterated. So we cut the sheep's wool in spring and we cut the hedges, the bushes in summer. So the answer here would be option A. Felicity found amusement park a dash pleasure. So utter, complete pleasure has to be sheer. Periwinkle hung dash curtains in the living room. Now, sheer, sheer, sheer has another meaning which means transparent. So she probably hung transparent curtains in her living room. They dash up the leaning wall, sorry, with steel beams. So they shore up or shore up. Now, SHURE sure simply means certain. So if you're certain of something, you're sure of that thing. And SHORE sure, well, although just SHORE sure means the beach, but shore up means to support something. So if you shore up the leaning wall with beams, you're supporting the leaning wall, the bending wall with beams, something like this. So here the answer would be shore up. Maria was dashed about the decision to move to another country. Well, she was certain about the decision to move another country. She was sure about the decision to move to another country. Do you believe that animals have soul or soul? Now, SOLE soul means single, one, and SOUL soul, the spirit of a living creature. So animals definitely have souls. Since the basic dash was wrong, all the conclusions based on it were wrong too. Now, premise means the assumption, and premises means the area surrounding a building. So, since the basic assumption was wrong, the basic premise was wrong, all the conclusions based on it were wrong too. Smoking is not allowed on the premises in the area or of the building. The dash of the school is a woman of dash. Now, principal with a PLE means the belief that you have in something, and principal with a PAL means a person who's the head of an institution. So, the principal of the middle school is a woman of principals. Angel is so dash that she spent the entire $1 million she won in the lottery in 1 year. Profligate means somebody who's extravagant or wasteful, and prolific means somebody who's productive. Now, Angel, now see, she has spent entire $1 million in 1 year. She just spent that money. So probably she's been reckless here with the money. She has been wasteful with the money. So you're spending $1 million in 1 year. That's a lot of money and very less time. So she has been profligate. It's an adjective. John Grisham is a dash writer. Prolific, productive. That means he keeps writing and he keeps giving good stuff to the world to read. So he's a prolific writer. He did not have enough sense to come out of the rain, rain, or rain. Now, REI rain literally is the strap to control a horse. The and figuratively, it means asserting influence on someone. REIG in rain means the duration of the rule or just the rule of a ruler. And REI in rain, well, something that the clouds, only clouds can give us. That's rain, the water that we get from the clouds. So rain. So he did not have enough sense to come out of the rain, the rule, or the strap. No, I guess he did not have enough sense to come out of the rain. So he stood there getting wet, getting soaked, getting drenched in the rain. King Wilhelm dash with an iron fist to keep the peace in the land. Well, if somebody is doing something with an iron fist, that means he's doing it ruthlessly, oppressively. So he probably reigned, ruled with an iron fist to keep peace in the land. We can rule out the other options. Bill dash the car deck before dealing. Now, rifle is the gun that you can use to kill someone or maybe to shoot someone. And riffle means to shuffle up. Like you take the deck of cards, you kind of shuffle them up, you kind of riffle them before you start playing or dealing. So he riffled the card deck before dealing. I am not dash about your getting this job. Sanguine simply means optimistic, hopeful, and saturnine simply means gloomy. So, am I not optimistic or I am not gloomy about you getting a job? So, if somebody has to get a job, one must be optimistic or hopeful about the other one, right? So, I am not sanguine about your getting this job. Plimsley's walking cane is dash as an arrow. I guess we understand this as straight as an arrow. So straight is something that is not bent or crooked. So it's straight as an arrow. And straight, spelled as STRAIT, straight is It's a channel of water connecting two bigger water bodies. So let's say there is water body here, a bigger one, and there's a water body here, and there's a small channel of water that connects these two bigger water bodies. This small channel, this small patch of water is called strait, like the Pak Strait between India and Sri Lanka. So this one is obviously A. The Bering Strait lies between Alaska and Siberia. So probably between Alaska and Siberia, there's a patch of water. So that's what we're talking about here. Hold the string dash while I mark the line. So the words are taught and taught. This taught is the past tense of teach, that is the act of giving information or knowledge to someone. So I'm teaching you right now. Probably you've been taught by me. Some years from now, you'll say, oh, Brenna ma'am taught us. So taught is the past tense of teach. And taught, T-A-U-T, taught, simply means to hold tight. So if you hold something tight, the thing is taut. So think of that rope that you hold from one end and your friend holds from the other end, and you pull it. Both of you pull it towards yourself. So the rope will be taut. It will be really tight. So it's not slacking. It's taut. So hold the string string taut while I mark the line. Kenneth dash etiquette and good manners for several years. So Kenneth probably taught, so past tense of teach, etiquette and good manners for several years. Must have been a very good guy. He taught etiquette and good manners for so many years. The next one. The major dash of all religions are similar. Now, tenant is the occupant of the property. I believe you're already familiar with the term. So, kiraidar, occupant of the property, that's who a tenant is. And this is tenant. This is more like the belief, the principles of a religion. So, the major principles, the major beliefs of all religions are similar. So, it has to be tenant. Prunella tried to elicit answers from the dash students in front of her, torpid and turgid. Now, torpid simply means, I mean, both of them are adjectives, and torpid as an adjective means somebody who's inert, inactive, sluggish, no activity at all. And turgid again has, I mean, it has two meaning. One is swollen, and or maybe bulging outside. So when you hit your forehead against something, it bulges outside, it becomes turgid. And the other meaning of turgid is ornamental, fancy, ornate, pompous, grandiloquent. So right now, what are we talking about? Prunella tried to elicit answers from pompous students or swollen students? No. She probably tried to get the answers from inactive, lazy, not lazy, but inactive students. So she tried to elicit the answer from torpid student. See, student is a noun. We'll place the word adjective here, that is torpid, and works perfectly fine. The author's dash style lost my interest quickly. So was it inactive writing style, or was it pompous, grandiloquent, ornate, fancy writing style? Now, some people like fancy writing style and some of us don't. So this fellow did not like the pompous or the turgid writing style, and he soon lost interest in the writing. Dash veins covered her legs. Now, the meaning of turgid, as already stated, one of the meanings is swollen, okay, bulging outside. So, how were the veins? Probably turgid veins were bulging outside. Veins covered her legs. Wiley Driver was very adept, that is, proficient, at driving dash mountain roads of western North Carolina. So one is tortuous and the other is torturous. Now, what can be torturous? So you come to attend a class and you find it very boring, but you cannot leave the session. So you probably would say, oh, what a torturous lesson. But tortuous simply means something that's winding, something that goes this way. Like think of the winding roads on a mountain trip. So those winding roads are called tortuous. So we are talking about the mountain roads here. So the best fit here should be tortuous. So Wiley Driver was adept. He was proficient at driving the tortuous, the winding, the curving mountain roads of Western North Carolina. Mike Stubb found doing math homework torturous. I believe as students you will be able to relate to this. So you're doing math homework, and you want to play outside. You don't want to do the work. So you probably will find the work torturous. You want that to end, and you would not want to continue doing it. The dash are usually smaller than the arteries. Now, what is smaller than the arteries? Arteries and probably veins. I'm sure you've read about these in your junior classes. So, vein is VEIN vein. So, we have arteries and veins, the nerves in our body. Some of them carry good blood and some of them carry the impure blood. So I believe you can do the math here, which one is artery, which one is vein. But there are two more words which share the similar sound, if not the similar spelling. One is VANE vein and the other one is VAIN vein. Now, VAIN vein has two meaning. One is futile. So you do something, it ends in smoke. So there's no positive result. There's no good outcome to something that you have done. So your effort has gone in vain. And VANE vain is also used for people as an adjective for people who are proud, who are conceited, who just think about themselves, who are egocentric. So vain people are proud people, and vain, VAIN, vain also means something that's futile. So it's like plowing the sand. So when you plow the sand, the effort goes vain. And VANE vain is a compound word which is weather vane. Now, weather vane is a weathercock, so it's more like a plastic cock people put outside their houses attached to a small thick stick. And this helps them figure out the direction of the wind. That is how it is. That is the purpose of putting a weather vane in front of the houses. Now, weather vane, obviously not the right answer. The right answer for this one would be VEIN vein because we are talking about the nerves of the body, arteries, and vein. Chris Cross is a man so dash he charged his mother for taking her to the hospital. Now, see, if a man is charging his own mother, that too specially to take her to the hospital, what sort of man are we talking about? Are we talking about a good man or are we talking about somebody who's bad, bad, appalling bad, right? So he is venal or venial. Now, venal is somebody who's corruptible, somebody who's bad. And venial is something that can be forgiven. So if somebody does something, something goes wrong, but it's not major, it doesn't really have a big impact or a bad impact on something, it's probably forgivable. It is venial. Now we are talking about a man who's bad, so venial, probably a misfit. It should be venal. So Chris Cross is a man so venal he charged his mother for taking her to the hospital. Now let's take a look at the sort of questions that are expected in the exam. Now this question appeared in IPMAT Indore 2022 this year. So this is how you expect to see the question. So let's take a look at this. Although he thinks he is the life of the party, his remarks are insensitive, his jokes are vulgar, cross, and crude. See, what they do, they take a word, they keep repeating the same word in all the other sentences, and the usage of the word in one of the sentences is wrong and is generally right in the other three sentences. So you just need to identify which word is wrongly used. Now, this is the same word which will get repeated in all the four sentences. So let's just identify the word first, then we'll take a look at the usage. It was a long journey by road, and they had yet to find a boat that would help them to cross the river. So I guess the word that's getting repeated is the word cross. So it was written here and it's written here. The mistakes of his youth are the cross that he has to bear for the rest of his life. We were told that she had to live through tough times, which made her cross and cranky. So do you see the word cross is getting repeated in all the four sentences? That means the usage in one of the sentences is wrong and we need to identify. Now, they don't ask you to correct it. That's a good part. You just need to identify the wrong part here. So let's start with sentence D. This says, we were told that she lived through tough times, which made her cross and cranky. Now, if somebody's cross, it simply means somebody's angry and somebody's annoyed. So if your mom says, okay, I'm cross with you today, she simply means to say that she's angry with you today. Cross means angry. That means the usage in sentence D is right. That is, it is not the answer. The sentence which will have the wrong answer will have the wrong usage will be the answer. Okay. The mistakes of his youth are the cross that he has to bear for the rest of his life. Now, cross is that putting two sticks together, or I mean, bearing a cross simply means that you bear the brunt of the mistake. So you make a mistake and you keep regretting it throughout your life. So you've borne the cross of your mistakes. So the usage is correct here. It was a long journey by road, and they had yet to find a boat that would help them cross the river. Now, crossing the river here means going from one end to the other end. The usage is right, so this cannot be the answer. We're only left with sentence one. It better be wrong. Although he thinks he is the life of the party, his remarks are insensitive, his jokes are vulgar and cross and crude. Now, see, all the four words negative, right? Insensitive, vulgar, crude. And look at the word cross. Now, cross could mean going from one end to the other. It could mean being angry or annoyed. It could mean the mark cross, or maybe this is the cross that your teachers put in your notebook when you do something wrong. But it definitely doesn't mean as an adjective something that's synonymous with any of the words that are given here. The word, in fact, is crass. Crass means insensitive. So the usage of cross is wrong here. It should have been crass. But thankfully, you don't have to correct the mistakes. You just need to identify the mistake. Now, let's say you realize that the usage of cross in option A is wrong. So you just have to mark option A. You don't have to correct the sentence. Let's take a look at the last question of the day. And this one is, the problems caused by floating rules are many, but some people do not care. Her fault was that she floated the dress code and refused to wear the uniform. The orchestra decided to float tradition and played their instrument wearing ordinary clothes. She floated her designer dress, designer wear, and accessories in front of her classmates. Now, do you see the word that is getting repeated? Float, 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 and float. That means there's a problem in the usage in one of the sentences, and we just need to identify the sentence. We don't have to correct it. But here in the session, we will correct this as the word so that you understand its meaning as well. So, FLOUT, float, simply means to openly disregard. Now, what would you generally disregard? We generally disregard rules. So the teacher says you have to wear the uniform. You say, no, I'll wear the casuals. So you're disregarding the rule. You're floating the rule. You jump the traffic light. You float the rule. And the other word is flaunt. Flaunt means to show off, to brag, to boast. So let's see. The problem caused by floating rules are many. So if you disregard the rule, what will happen? You get punished, you get into trouble. So there is a problem if the rules are disregarded. So the usage is correct in sentence number one. Her fault was that she floated the dress code and refused to wear the uniform. So she disregarded the dress code and she said, no, I'll not wear the uniform because she's disregarding the dress code. So the usage is absolutely right here. The next one, the orchestra decided to float tradition and played their instrument wearing ordinary clothes. Now, the band is expected to wear probably a traditional dress, but they played the instruments wearing ordinary clothes. That means they disregarded the rule. So the usage is correct here. She floated her designer dress and accessories in front of her classmates. Now, why would she disregard her dress? She probably flaunted her designer dress. That is, she uh, bragged about, or maybe she boasted, or maybe she showed off her designer dress in front of her dress and her classmates. So the usage is wrong in sentence number D. So, students, with this, I come to the end of the session. Now, the only thing that I have to say towards the end of the session is that this is a super important topic and it is not very difficult to deal with, provided you put in a little effort and go through the words that sound similar, or maybe as they share a similar, say, spelling, or maybe similar sound, or they have something in common as far as the spelling or the pronunciation is concerned. So, understand this topic well, practice this topic well. You're sure to get some questions based on this topic, especially in an IPMAT Indore and Rohtak paper. So if you go there well prepared, well versed with at least this topic, you're sure to do well here in this section. So I hope you were able to gain something. If you like the video, do press the like button, send in your comments in the comment section, and we would be back with some more useful sessions for you in the days to come. Take care. Bye bye.